Hey guys, what's going on? The Wrestling King 619 back with another video. In this video, I will be showing and telling you guys which wrestlers I met on March 15th, 2025. It was a big meet and greet called The Big Event at Suffolk Community College in Brentwood, Long Island, New York. There were a lot of wrestlers there. Some of the most popular ones were AJ Lee, Jerry the King Lawler, Ric Flair, and Bret the Hitman Hart, but I previously met them in past meet and greets, so I didn't have to wait on their long lines. The first wrestler I saw was Nunzio, and he said I looked familiar because he sometimes wrestles at the same wrestling school that I train at. Then we were on the line for the Great Khali. It wasn't that long because we were one of the firsts in line. Also, the more popular wrestlers with the longer lines, there were four of us. Me, my mom, my friend Reggie, and my friend Alex. So each of us waited on one of the lines. When I met the Great Khali, I asked the guy who was giving the money to if he could stand up because he's over 7 feet tall. I said I'll pay him extra, but he said no. When I took the picture, he was still taller than me sitting down than I was standing up. He signed my 8x10 poster. He literally had his headphones in on video call with one of his friends. I asked him what his favorite match was, but he didn't say anything, probably because he doesn't speak English very well. Then I went to meet Lita. We took the picture and she signed my 8x10. I asked her what her favorite match was, and she had two. One was of her versus Trish Stratus, and I think it was for the title. I want to say at WrestleMania. Could be wrong. The other one was her in a 3-on-3 tag match when she won the women's tag titles with Becky Lynch, accompanied by Trish Stratus against Damage Control. My stepdad was really excited that he was going to meet her because he met Trish Stratus, but if you've seen my video with my stepdad, you know that he passed away. I told her and she said this is the best way to honor him. Then we were online for Sasha Banks, now known as Mercedes Moné. She signed my 8x10 and I took a picture with her. I asked her what her favorite match was, and she said it was against Bayley at NXT TakeOver in Brooklyn. Then I met Eva Marie, who I didn't think was that popular, but she had a long line. She signed my 8x10 and we took a picture. I asked her what her favorite match was, and she said it was probably her last match at SummerSlam against Alexa Bliss. It was a good thing that I already met AJ Lee a couple years ago because her line was literally the whole length of the college gym and wrapped around. My NYWC school had a booth too, and I went over there and said my hellos. Then I met the primetime players Titus O'Neil and Darren Young. They signed both my 8x10s and we took a picture. They both signed one of my items for free. Darren said, "Don't you want me to sign the other poster?" And I said, "Not if you don't want to." He said, "It's already here, so I might as well." They did the dance with me. Alright, Titus also signed my wrestling figure. The figure commemorates the time at the Greatest Royal Rumble when he slipped and fell under the ring. They both signed one of my items for free. Well, I asked them what their favorite matches were, and Titus said when they were in the tag team elimination chamber match. And Darren said either his time with Team Hell No with Kane and Daniel Bryan, or when they won the tag titles, I think against Epico and Primo. They were really nice, and they didn't have a line, so it was nice to talk to them for a little bit. Darren is now signed with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Titus is still technically with WWE. He does a lot of stuff backstage and does a lot of stuff with the Make-A-Wish kids. Then I met Sonya Deville. I took a picture with her and she signed my 8x10 poster. I asked her what her favorite match was, and she said it was against Liv Morgan in a street fight. I told her I remember meeting Liv literally that weekend in another meet and greet. We both subscribed to each other's YouTube channels, which was pretty cool. I didn't realize that there was another 8x10 of both Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. So I said, even though I already met Mandy last time, I said I have to get this one signed too. I met her again, and she signed it, and we took a picture. I asked her what her favorite match was, and she said when she unified both the NXT and the NXT UK titles, which after meeting her the first time, I vaguely remember her saying that match. I said hi again, and I told her the situation. I didn't see that 8x10, so I met her twice that day. Then I met Vampiro, and he signed my 8x10. I asked him what his favorite match was, but he didn't have one. We took a picture together. Then I met Justin Gabriel. I almost didn't recognize him because he had a beard that had a little gray in it, and I think he got a little more muscular. He signed my 8x10 poster, and we took a picture. I said, this is going to take you back a while, and it was the Battle Pack Series 14 2-pack with him and Heath Slater, and now both of them are signed. I asked him what his favorite match was. I don't think he told me, but he said that he had over 300 matches just in 2011 alone. He just signed with AEW under another name, PJ Black. He also had a little bit of an accent because he's from South Africa. Then I met Cesaro. He signed my 8x10 poster, and we took a picture. I asked him what his favorite match was, and he said him against Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. I said the match that stood out to me the most in AEW was him against Brody King in the Continental Classic Tournament. He said which one, because he faced him twice in the tournament. I didn't know, and he said probably the second time was his favorite. I asked him if he would go back to WWE anytime, and he said, no, I don't know, because I like it here at AEW. And I said, yeah, you're tearing up the joint with the Death Riders. My mom said, now give him the swing, and he said that there's no room. Then I met Dijak. He signed my 8x10, and we took a picture. I asked him, what is he doing now that he got released from WWE? He said, I'm the busiest man alive. I still wrestle, but on the independent circuit. He had to wrestle out in New Jersey that night, fly to Paris the next day, and then fly to India the following day. So yeah, he wasn't lying when he said that he's the busiest man alive. I asked him what his favorite match was, and he said at Deadline, at the Iron Survivor 2023 match. Then I met Mosh and Thrash, the Headbangers. They signed my 8x10 and took a picture with them. I asked them what their favorite match was, and they had three. A WCW pay-per-view that I forgot the name of it, something called Zone. The second one was them versus Legions of Doom, and the third one was WrestleMania 13, their first WrestleMania. Then I met Danhausen, who was very nice, very evil. He signed my 8x10, and I asked him what his favorite match was, and I forgot who it was against, but it was at the Little Caesar Stadium in Detroit, because that was in his hometown. Then I met good old JR, Jim Ross. I asked him where his barbecue sauce was, because he owns a thing of barbecue sauce, a company, and he said it was at home. He signed my 8x10, and we took a picture. I asked him what his favorite match that he ever commentated on, and he said it was Stone Cold versus Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13. Then I met the Butcher and the Blade. I got an 8x10 that they both signed. I asked them what their favorite match was, and they said either against the Young Bucks or Kenny Omega and Konosuke Takeshita. Butcher is also in a band called Every Time I Die. Then I met Indy Hartwell. She signed my 8x10, and we took a picture. I asked her what her favorite match was, and she said at Stand and Deliver 2023, when she won the women's NXT title in a ladder match, and because her kayfabe fake wrestling husband Dexter Lumis helped her win, so it was a great ending. I asked her, what is she doing after she's been released from WWE? And she said just doing autograph signings. I should have told her that I love her accent because she's from Australia and I love Australian accents. Then I met Tegan Knox. She's signed my 8x10 and we took a picture. I asked her what her favorite match was and she said against Dakota Kai in a street fight. I also asked her what has she been up to after getting released from WWE. And she said she wants to go back to school in Orlando, Florida. She also has an accent because she's Welsh. Indy and Tegan were very chill. Then I went on Caitlin's line, basically to just ask if she remembers me. I met her and my dad felt her shoe. I waited online for about 20 minutes. There were still a couple people in front of me, but I basically cut the line and said, "Hi Caitlin, I don't know if you remember me. It was a couple of years ago, but I met you at Wrestling Universe in Queens. You had on Vans, and my dad loves Vans, so you took off your shoe, and he felt it." And she said, "Is your dad here today?" I said, "No, but he's bald and around my height." She said that she vaguely remembers that and asked if they were checkered Vans, and I said, "I think so." My mom wanted to leave so badly because we were getting Chili's afterwards. Me, my mom, my friend Reggie, and my friend Alex. When I was walking around earlier that day, I saw a booth of lucha masks, and I had to go back there because Rey Mysterio is my favorite wrestler. I wound up getting 5 Rey Mysterio masks, also a John Cena mask, I guess when he was on the Indies or whatever, as Juan Cena with a purple and yellow mask, and a Straight Edge Society CM Punk mask when Big Show took it off, revealing that he was bald. The 3 of them were getting really mad at this point, but you know me, I'm like a kid in a candy store, and I went to another booth to where they were selling wrestling action figures. I got a boxed Elite Sonya Deville, Jerry the King Lawler Hall of Fame edition, Royal Rumble edition Lita, and Cesaro's first ever figure, which was only $10, which I thought was really cheap, considering it was over 10 years ago. And figures go up in value as they get older. I also got a loose Elite 100 Andre the Giant Chase figure. Now, if you remember, those 4 figures that I got in the box were also there too, but I didn't get them signed. There were also a couple of no-shows like Carmella and Lola Vice. I know this is a longer video than usual, but if you stuck around till the end, I would really appreciate it. If you like this type of content, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. This is the Wrestling King 619. I'll catch you next time. Peace.